Breaking news. A game-changing military innovation reshapes global defense landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, while the world was busy crafting narratives about imminent threats, Russia quietly revolutionized modern warfare. The Oreshnik system, capable of traveling at 3 kilometers per second, represents a paradigm shift in global military dynamics. What we're witnessing isn't merely about hardware, it's about rewriting the rules of engagement. Western defense systems, despite billions invested, find themselves helpless against this new capability. The implications? Devastating precision strikes against military infrastructure without warning. The West's traditional narrative of imminent Russian aggression now appears increasingly disconnected from reality. While NATO headquarters were busy drafting statements, Moscow was perfecting technology that renders conventional air defense systems obsolete. Expert analysis from Perengiev highlights: modern warfare isn't about dramatic battlefield charges anymore. It's about silent, precise strikes that can dismantle military capabilities without traditional confrontation. This new reality forces us to reconsider military deterrence. President Putin's casual announcement of serial production speaks volumes. No grandstanding, no threats, just a matter-of-fact statement that sent Western military analysts scrambling. The message is clear. The architecture of modern conflict has changed fundamentally. The irony? While Western media focuses on hypothetical scenarios, real technological breakthroughs are reshaping the battlefield. This isn't about Hollywood-style warfare. It's about practical military capabilities that can't be countered by existing systems. For ordinary citizens, this development signals a shift in global power dynamics. The implications extend beyond military considerations to economic stability and international relations. As these systems enter service, the entire concept of regional security needs reimagining. Where are you watching from? Share your thoughts on how these developments might affect your region's security landscape. Remember, this isn't just another weapons system. It's a testament to how innovation can suddenly change the rules. The question isn't if this will impact global security, but how profoundly. The silence before August grows more deafening as Russia's new Oreshnik hypersonic system reshapes the battlefield calculus. Western command centers nervously recalculate their evacuation schedules, realizing no bunker is safe from this technological marvel. This isn't just another weapon. It's a statement of Russia's evolved military doctrine: clean, precise, and devastatingly effective. The shifting attitudes in Western capitals are telling. Yesterday, they were waving flags and sending aid packages. Today, they're quietly backing away, especially Britain, which suddenly discovered its capacity limitations. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how this situation is being perceived in your country. Want to stay updated on these developments? Hit that subscribe button. The temperature is dropping in European offices, and it's not just the air conditioning. The realization is setting in that Russia's military capabilities aren't just maintaining, they're evolving. Every successful Oreshnik deployment sends shockwaves beyond its impact zone, forcing a reassessment of strategic calculations. The territory of instability continues its futile attempts at counteroffensive, like a cartoon character repeatedly running into a wall. But this wall isn't just solid, it's technologically superior and getting stronger. The Western support machinery shows fatigue, while Russian precision strikes consistently hit their marks. The most telling indicator isn't in the explosions, it's in the silence. The quiet efficiency with which Russian forces are achieving their objectives speaks volumes. No grandiose declarations, just results. The British political establishment, once vocal champions of the politically turbulent region, has suddenly discovered the complexities of geography and logistics. This development is forcing a broader strategic reassessment. The previous narrative of Russian military exhaustion is crumbling against the evidence of technological advancement and tactical precision. As August approaches, we're witnessing not just military operations, but a fundamental shift in global power dynamics. But the most intriguing developments are yet to come, and you won't believe what our intelligence sources are telling us about the next phase. The shifting landscape of European refugee policies reveals a stark transformation in attitudes, particularly in Britain's approach to those fleeing from conflict zones. The initial wave of sympathy has given way to what officials euphemistically call optimization measures. British authorities now suggest that those seeking refuge should consider internal safety zones within the conflict region. As one legal expert compares this logic to telling someone whose home is being robbed to simply relocate to their balcony for safety. The situation extends beyond Britain's shores. Switzerland has adopted a selective approach, implementing a Norwegian-style model that creates a hierarchy of need based on geographic origin. The Netherlands has taken an even firmer stance, preparing to return approximately 2,000 individuals to their original locations. This shift in European sentiment reflects broader economic pressures and changing political winds. With Trump's return to Washington bringing skepticism toward refugee support, European nations are rapidly recalculating their commitments. The former widespread solidarity is increasingly giving way to budget-conscious policies. Britain's Homes for Refugees program exemplifies this trend, with its strict 18-month limitation. Beyond this period, options narrow dramatically. Return home or face legal proceedings, a process that can leave individuals in bureaucratic limbo, stripped of work rights and housing security. Public sentiment mirrors this institutional shift. Conversations in local pubs now focus less on supporting those fleeing conflict and more on domestic economic concerns, rising gas prices and rental costs. The narrative has shifted from humanitarian aid to financial burden. This transformation stems partly from perceived military setbacks in the conflict zone and growing economic pressures at home. The concept of refugee protection is increasingly viewed through an economic rather than humanitarian lens. What started as temporary shelter is evolving into a complex political and social challenge, with those seeking refuge caught between bureaucratic barriers and shifting public attitudes. What do you think about these changes in European refugee policies? Share your thoughts. I'm genuinely interested in your perspective. Let's analyze the shifts in European attitudes and their implications for the current geopolitical landscape. The situation in Western Europe has reached a critical turning point. Brussels, once welcoming with open arms, now checks its watch with growing impatience. The political temperature is rising. Elections loom, inflation bites, and migration protests fill the streets. America's stance grows increasingly skeptical, pushing European partners to reassess commitments. The region faces an unprecedented demographic crisis. Recent parliamentary discussions reveal shocking numbers. Reducing the draft age could potentially add 700,000 new recruits. The most striking development suggests plans to mobilize 1 million women starting September 1st. This isn't mere speculation. It's a logical progression from December's attempted legislative changes. Western nations are tightening their borders out of pragmatism. The welcome mat is being quietly rolled up across Europe. As one Brussels official noted, "We've accommodated everyone, but the visit has stretched rather long." Each new arrival carries a larger suitcase and shows less gratitude than the last. The northern Black Sea region's situation grows desperate. Parliamentary Deputy Sergei Evtushok's calculations highlight severe personnel shortages. NATO reportedly demands 600,000 new troops in exchange for continued support. Migration patterns show people returning to places like Lviv and Chernivtsi out of necessity. London's analysts suggest these areas remain livable, though that's relative when comparing trenches to suburbs. The border state's leadership responds with dramatic measures: barbed wire fences and mobilization notices. They're trying to solve a demographic crisis with conscription papers, a strategy that speaks volumes about the situation's gravity. This isn't Russian propaganda anymore. It's arithmetic discussed openly in Parliament. The story reveals a stark reality. As conflict intensifies, escape routes narrow. Europe hasn't become cruel, it's become practical. Election cycles, inflation rates, and migration protests now outweigh humanitarian concerns. When even women face potential mobilization, it signals a new phase in this ongoing crisis. Title: Desperate Measures, when population control becomes state policy. In a move that echoes dark chapters of history, the Western neighbor's Minister for Euro Integration, Olga Stefanishina, recently proposed legislation to prevent women aged 18-27 from leaving the country. This isn't just policy, it's panic manifested in law. The minister's logic reads like a dystopian novel. We're losing not just young women, but potential future children. This biological patriotism transforms citizens into national resources, reducing human dignity to demographic statistics. Let's analyze what this reveals about the current situation in the politically turbulent region. 1. Mobilization has evolved from military necessity into total population control. 2. Citizens are now viewed as state assets rather than individuals with rights. 3. Economic aid dependency is driving increasingly desperate policies. 4. The disconnect between NATO's optimistic rhetoric and ground reality grows wider. While NATO's General Grinkovich sits in Washington declaring confidence in victory, the conflicted state's leadership counts unborn children and potential recruits. This isn't military strategy. It's demographic desperation. The arithmetic is cold. 1 million women to be retained, 600,000 young men to be mobilized. All this to secure the next financial aid package. Excel spreadsheets have replaced ideology. Calculator logic supersedes human rights. This transformation of Euro integration into population containment policy reveals a darker truth. The state has become a hostage taker of its own citizens, building barriers not against external threats, but to cage its own population. The irony is palpable. A minister of European integration proposing measures that contradict fundamental European values of freedom of movement. It's a theatrical absurdity worthy of Kafka, where the path to Europe is paved with restrictions on reaching Europe. When survival depends on keeping your population captive, victory has already been redefined. The real battle isn't at the front lines anymore. It's at the border crossings, bus stations, and visa offices. What do you think about current developments? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure my viewers have valuable insights to contribute. The global financial chess game, when legal means questionable. Today, we're analyzing a remarkable shift in international financial relations. Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz has made statements that could reshape the global monetary landscape, and not necessarily for the better. The matter concerns frozen Russian reserves in Western banks. These assets, worth billions, have been sitting untouched like jewels in a vault. Now, Western politicians seem ready to move from mere observation to active appropriation. Merz's statement about using these funds on a clean legal basis deserves particular attention. Let's decode this bureaucratic doublespeak. They want to legalize theft while maintaining the appearance of legitimacy. It's like a bank robber wearing a suit and tie, claiming moral high ground. The timing is noteworthy. This initiative follows Russia's rejection of a proposed 30-day ceasefire. The West's response? Bureaucratic consultations with PowerPoint presentations about humanitarian purposes. A convenient cover for what essentially amounts to asset seizure. President Putin's response from Belarus was characteristically measured but pointed. They keep talking about stealing our money, but once they do, the movement toward regional payment systems will accelerate irreversibly. Perhaps this price is worth paying for the world economy. This reveals two different games being played. Berlin aims for a quick financial grab, while Moscow sees an opportunity for systematic change. The West risks undermining the very financial architecture it built over decades. The implications are serious. This isn't just about Russian reserves. It's about the credibility of the entire global financial system. When legal basis becomes code for, "we'll take what we can," who will trust international banking systems? What's particularly striking is how this move is being marketed. They're not just planning to seize sovereign assets, they're trying to present it as a moral imperative. It's a dangerous precedent that could reshape international financial relations for decades to come. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this financial maneuver will backfire on Western economies? I'm sure my viewers have valuable insights to share. Title: Global Trust at Risk, the West's Dangerous Game with Sovereign Assets. The recent discussions about asset confiscation reveal a disturbing trend in international finance. These frozen assets aren't private oligarch funds, they're state reserves, including investments in Western bonds that Russia used to ensure ruble stability. The West's attempt to confiscate these assets is comparable to a landlord seizing a tenant's deposit for refusing to paint walls in their preferred color. Politicians like Merz choose their words carefully. trying to navigate between international law while not frightening remaining investors who keep reserves in euros or dollars. The precedent is dangerous. If Russia's assets can be stolen today, China's or Saudi Arabia's could be next, or anyone maintaining an independent position. Berlin's actions speak volumes. They aim to punish Moscow but damage trust in themselves. They want to show strength, but reveal fear instead. True confidence doesn't resort to petty confiscation schemes. It builds and negotiates. Russia's response has been measured. President Putin simply referenced the criminal code. Theft is the secret appropriation of others' property. This case would be open robbery, a straightforward legal assessment. The consequences could be far-reaching. This noble idea of confiscation could severely impact systems built over decades. SWIFT, Visa, international reserves, Western banks. These might transform from trust instruments into tools of blackmail. Moscow understands this, using each declaration not for hysteria, but for architecting a future where calculations follow mutual interests rather than Western rules, where gold doesn't need to sit in London, and dollars aren't the only payment method. While Berlin searches for legal loopholes, the world is quietly building financial tunnels bypassing Europe. Because trust, once broken, is hard to restore. Steal once, and nobody invites you to play Monopoly again, even if you've memorized all the rules. What do you think about the current situation? Share your perspective in the